Thank you everyone for joining our second college prep session. And we have Mrunmayee here today, who is pursuing her education in medicine. So let's welcome Mrunmayee. Hey, hi Mrunmayee. Thanks for joining today's session.
No problem.
Yeah, and before we begin with the discussion, just wanted to give a quick disclaimer that the information, whatever we are sharing here, should not be construed as a professional advice. This is just the whole session is just for an informational purpose. Okay. So, Mrunmayee, why don't you introduce yourself and give us a little bit background about which college you are currently. I know that you are a freshman, but if you can give us more details about yourself, that will be great.
Yeah, so I graduated college and I'm in my first year of medical school. So I went to the Institute of Technology for my undergrad and I graduated last year. So I was a double major in math and biology, and so now I'm a first year medical student at UCLA.
So, when you said that you wanted to pursue the med school, right? The
Hmm.
first question spur in my mind is, are your parents belong to the same profession, or whether you have any family background for a medical profession? And is it so why you decided to go for a med school, or what's exact reason for you to choose med school?
Yeah, so both my parents have backgrounds in engineering, or that's what they were initially, I guess, trained in. So I didn't have any immediate family members who were in medicine, but I just throughout school, so that's like high school, college, and then all the different experiences that I got to do. I really liked biology, and I felt like medicine is the best way to sort of combine biology with making an impact on people's lives. So I personally always felt this, I don't want to say like calling, but felt like that would make me happiest.
So, but what was that point when you decided that? Because you
Hmm.
said that you did double major and the other major was mathematics. I don't
Yeah.
think it doesn't go along with medical profession, right?
Hmm.
So the two majors which you chose were absolutely different. One is mathematics, where
Hmm.
you can pursue the same line where your parents were already working in. But you decided to go for the other one. I understand that you had that in mind that probably this will give you more pleasure and all. But
Yeah.
do you had any kind of an vision when you were in high school that maybe I may go to med school or something like that? Whether you had some
Yeah.
vision? Mhm.
Yeah. So I remember when I started college, I knew that, okay, at one point or at some point, I want to end up being a doctor or going to med school. So I came in as a biology major, but then just out of coincidence, I chose like the wrong biology major. So I chose one where you would have to take more math classes. And I realized then, wow, I really like math. This is very logical, it's very systematic, and it teaches you how to think. So I looked at my schedule and I realized I just had a lot of time and I would be able to complete the second major if I wanted to. So I always knew I wanted to do medicine, and it's after I, decided that I just sort of decided to pick up math.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had that vision in your mind that
Yeah.
ultimately you will go for a med school.
Yeah.
But if someone doesn't have that vision, maybe probably in high
Yeah.
school, but
Mm-hmm.
at a later point of time, if once you are in the college, if they have built that kind of an interest, um, what will you suggest to those kids? How
Yeah.
then they should prepare themselves while when they will be in the college, how they
Yeah.
should prepare themselves so that they can go to med school later.
Yeah. Um, I think the whole, I guess, journey from college to getting into med school, it's more of being meticulous and making sure you hit every single box and not so much about um, being as bad as it sounds, like extraordinarily like outstanding in one subject. It's more that you should be well-rounded and, good at everything. And then if one thing interests you, then, push yourself in that field. But it's more important to be good at, a bunch of different things. So I would say for kids who feel like they should, try out biology or chemistry or things like that, and they want to do medicine, they should first take the classes and try to do the best that they can in those classes. Then, if I were them, I would look up what the exact requirements are. So that would be taking the MCAT, you should do research, do extracurriculars, things like that, and try to just get to a leadership position and multiple different things. And once you have all those, items collected, then you can go on and apply. But I would just say either way, you should just make sure that it's what you want to do and that you're enjoying all the different aspects that come with it because the whole process is quite lengthy. You have to jump through a lot of hoops. It's a lot of time and a lot of work. So if that is your passion, then you should do it, but don't feel pressured by what other people are doing.
I think that's very important tip that don't get worried under a peer pressure,
Mhm.
right? That because my friends are doing, I have to do it. So you
Yeah.
should have your own choice, and I admire that. Thanks for sharing. That's a wonderful tip. But again, just circling back to the same question. Now, as you said, is it necessary that someone must complete their, undergrad with the
Hmm.
subject biology so that they can go to med school? Or likewise, maybe let's assume that you just completed your bachelor's with mathematics, not with the
Yeah.
dual major. Can you
Yeah.
still, go to the med school?
Yes. So the thing that you do have to do though is every med school has a requirement of a certain number of biology classes, certain number of chemistry classes, certain number of physics classes, math classes even, and like history or writing classes, things like that that you have to do. And if you can show that you completed those classes, it doesn't matter what major you graduate with. So I can be a mathematics major, but as long as I took the required classes, I'll be okay.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
the undergrad major is not a constraint for someone to go into a medicine,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You can pass with any major, you can complete your undergrad with any major,
Yeah.
and then you can, if at
Yeah.
that point of time you feel that no, I want to go for a med school, people can still go to the med
Yeah.
school.
I will say though, so the reason why a lot of people end up doing biology or, biochemistry or something similar as their undergrad major is because it's a lot of classes to take. So, for example, if I were a history major or something, that's like an additional 1.5 to 2 years if I do my whole major without taking any of the med school classes. So, it's like you want to do something where you're not going to take extra time to complete those classes.
Right. Now, you also talk about how easy or difficult to get into med school and what are the requirements. So it's not only academically focused, but you also should have
Yeah.
something in research or maybe some kind of an internships or some
Mm-hmm.
other work done.
Yeah.
So, for example, researchers and all that, can you share how, when you are doing your undergrad, how the students can explore about the research opportunities or maybe about the internship opportunities? What are the resources you can suggest to such kids?
Yeah, so I think the best place to start out is always at your university. And if possible, you can ask your professors that you have class with because they know you, they're more likely to trust the quality of your work and things like that. So if I were starting out for the first time, what I would do is just go up to my teacher after class or go to their office hours and say, I want to be involved in your project. I read about it. Are you looking for anybody? And so even if they don't have any openings, they'll probably then tell their colleagues or other faculty members who are looking for somebody, hey, I have a student who's interested. So I would start there. If that doesn't work out, it's always a good idea to look at your department, the departments in your school. You can cold email, which is what I did. So just email a bunch of different people and say, hey, are you looking for anybody? I'm interested in your project. And then if you want to apply for something like an internship, I would say that the best way to do it is probably the kind of old-fashioned way, which is looking on LinkedIn, seeing who's looking for interns, new students, new researchers. Yeah.
So you just talk about LinkedIn. So is it mandatory or advisable for students who are just like, a freshman or a sophomore
Mm-hmm.
to create their LinkedIn profile and post
Yes.
it? Mhm.
I definitely would. I think it's maybe less important if you're planning on doing medicine because usually you won't apply to, it's more important to do kind of academic research, so within your college or department, as compared to doing an internship, because that would be your own original thoughts and work. But I think it's always a good idea because it helps you to stay in touch with what's around you, helps you see what other people are doing. And that way, if you ever do want an internship or any sort of fellowship, any, um, I don't, maybe like statewide, regional, national position, then that's a good way to look for things.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's another wonderful tip you gave right now. I have one more question.
Mm-hmm.
So the entire college schedule, because you said that if someone really wants to prepare herself or himself for a med school, definitely they have to start preparing while they are doing their
Mm-hmm.
undergrad, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to study hard. You should also have get involved yourself into like research opportunities or internships or fellowships, blah blah. So many things at one time, right?
Mm-hmm.
How can one keep the balance between all these different things and at the same time enjoy a college life?
Yeah, I think the main thing that is important to internalize is that whatever you end up doing, if you want to be good at that thing or you want to be the best at that thing, then that does mean sacrificing in other areas of your life. Like we all have 24 hours, and if you want to, do XYZ things, then it will mean, okay, I have to sacrifice my social life, or I have to sacrifice my sleep, or I have to sacrifice my academics. I think the trick is balancing it so that you're not always sacrificing one thing. And so just rotate the thing that you sacrifice every single week. And I would say pick the things that you feel joy and passion about doing. So don't do a random, research project that you hate and that's like draining you because then you're not going to even want to do it. So pick things that you like to do, budget time for it, and be realistic about how many commitments you can take on at one time. And then make sure to also budget some time for yourself and write down, like, I'm not going to do anything else but, read or watch TV or whatever you like to do. And that'll help a lot, I think.
The time management, I would just sum up what you have said. Time management is a key. Do you agree?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, okay. Now, I'm pretty sure that from our audience, there will be few kids who are currently like, either high school senior student or a high school
Hmm.
junior. What advice you will give them if they already have like, decided to go to a med school, how they should start preparing themselves for that?
I think that the best idea is to starting now, just plan out what you want to do each year. So there's a lot of things that you have to accomplish that take multiple years. So, for example, one big thing is, you want a research paper before you apply to med school. So a research paper takes 2 years plus to get. So you have to start reverse thinking. Okay, so if I want a research paper in 2 years, that means I have to join a lab now. So if I want to take the MCAT in, my third year, that means I have to start preparing in my second year. So plan all these things out in advance and then make that schedule and stick to it the best you can. And that will help you because inevitably things come up and you can't complete everything according to the timeline. But if you know that you have this goal and you have this deadline for when, all these requirements have to be done, it's really helpful to start from day one because then you're not racing at the last minute and trying to complete like a million different things before the deadline.
So sometimes it happens that like, things just don't work out as you have planned.
Mm-hmm.
Have you experienced some pressure like this and how you handle
Definitely.
that situation?
Definitely. I think one of the most, I guess, highest stakes times in my life was when I was trying to take the MCAT before I applied. So I had initially planned on taking it the summer before I was going to apply. So for context, you apply at the end of May in any, given year. That's when the application cycle is. And then I was planning to take it in the August before. So that would have been 8 months before. And that would have
Mhm.
given me enough time to retake it if I didn't do so well. And so I got an internship and it was so much work. It was very physically tiring. So I kept pushing it. And then I decided to take the exam in April and I had to submit my application in May. So that means if I don't do as well as I want to, I have to delay my whole application by a year. And at the time, I was still working full time and I was stressed because I would come home and try to study every day, but it's like I'd get home so late, have to get up so early, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do well enough on this exam. But I think the main tip I would give to people is A, don't do that. Don't push exams and, just try and do your best to study for it early and manage your time well. But if you do end up in such a situation, don't panic. Just focus on what you can do every single day and um, focus on the steps that you are taking every single day for your goals. So don't worry so much about I'm not going to do well. Just think about, okay, I have to do this many questions today. Take your focus away from the overall goal and think about the steps that you have to complete in order to meet that goal.
I think rather than getting disappointed by not able to complete whatever you have planned about, instead of
Yeah.
what you are suggesting is focus on what you can do rather than
Yes.
what you couldn't do, right?
Yes.
So that's a great tip. Focus on what is what best you can do, how you can achieve your target or whatever you have decided, rather than complaining about why I was not able to complete it. So that's a
Yeah.
great tip. I think a takeaway from this can be just try to be consistent with the efforts, whatever you are
Yeah.
ready to put in, right?
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing all these
Of
wonderful
course.
tips with us. Now one more question. So how tough the medical entrance exam and how many attempts one needs to get more scores or to get good score in that exam?
So I'll answer the second part of your question first. You definitely want to try to only take it one time because every single time that you take, they look at all your scores. So it's not a good look if you have a lot of bad scores. And there's actually a limit on how many times you can take it. So I would say definitely just aim to take it one time. And the other thing is, it is a hard exam. So it's 8 hours, and a lot of it, it's not really so much about knowing the content, although you have to know the content. It's more so about reasoning and seeing if you can answer the questions in the way that they ask them. So they're not going to ask you directly from memory, okay, what is this? What is that? It's more so if this happens and if this happens. So they're trying to test your understanding and your, logical capabilities, not just whether you know something or not. So I would take that into account when studying for it. Definitely give yourself a lot of time. It is also 8 hours, so it's a very long test.
Mhm.
And it's good because it kind of prepares you in medical school. There are three big exams that you have to take that are also a similar length. But I think in that sense, it's a very long exam. It's um, a lot of different subjects. So, you know, it's not just like a physics exam, but it's a physics, chemistry, biology, and reasoning exam. So just if you go in with that mindset of it's going to be long and I have to study a lot of different things, then it's easier. Yeah.
So have you taken any classes or something for preparing for this exam?
No, I didn't take any classes. I just worked through workbooks and did practice exams. Yeah.
I think we are about to towards the end of the session. Can you tell us a little bit more about your current med college?
Sure, yeah. So I go to UCLA. It's really nice. I'm loving it so far because it's pass fail for the preclinical curricula. I could tell you a little bit about what the med school sort of layout looks like. For the first 1.5 years, we just learn and we do lectures. It's kind of like college in that sense, so it's not so different. And then for the next year after that, we do rotations in the hospital and we go through different specialties and see which ones we want to do. And then after that, we have some time to prepare our application for residency, which is where we decide, which specialty we want to pursue. And then fourth year, we're doing residency interviews. We're also doing sub-Is, which are kind of trial rounds of the residency at different places. So that's what it looks like. And right now, I'm still in the first phase, which is the year and a half where we're doing lectures and studying, learning about all the different organs and that type of thing. So I would say it's a really nice environment because there's no competition between the students, at least here, because we're not ranked. So we can all just focus on doing our best, helping each other. And it's hard because it's a lot of information in a very small amount of time. I think that to me was the biggest change. So I like that we can rely on each other. And it's really nice to be able to do and learn what you really are interested in. So it's been hard, but I've enjoyed it a lot so far.
Before I ask you the last question, just letting our audience know that if you have any questions, this is the right time for you to post that in the chat box. So I know that your parents are based out of New Jersey and you're currently in California, right? So how are you managing all this, staying away from the family and maybe some kind of an emotional, turbulences which you might go through during the the pressure times, whatever you you experience in your college and all that. So how
Mhm.
do you manage this emotional balance?
I think, well, I don't even feel like I'm far away from them because I call them so often, but uh I would just say that I keep in touch with my home friends really frequently, and I'm very lucky that I get to see my family every single break, like every 2 or 3 months I'll go back. So I think that's nice, but also because there's so much to do every single day, it's it's good because they say an empty mind is when you feel the most distressed. So I never feel super sad because there's always something like a next task to do.
Okay, okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing all your
Of
tips
course.
and the whole information was really wonderful. I don't see anything in chat, so maybe if in your
I can put
any
my email
anyone
also in the
sure
chat. So if anybody
anyone from
has
the audience,
questions.
if you have any questions, just go ahead and ask them on me. We still have I would say 5 minutes left. Arav, if you have any questions, maybe you can ask them. Yes, maybe any last words of wisdom or something for those who wants to pursue medicine.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that overall, I would say you should, a lot of, or medicine is a very I guess the best phrase to describe it is delayed gratification because it's again very lengthy. So not just getting into medical school, like that is just the beginning. And then after that, it's 4 years of med school, however many years of residency, fellowship, and depending on the specialty that you pick, it's probably very tough and arduous even then. So I would just say don't forget to live life when you're in school. You should do all the fun things, go on vacation with your friends, enjoy your time. As long as you're consistent with what you need to do, you will get to where you need to be.
Right. Okay. All right. So thank you so much for
Of
your
course.
time today, and thank you all who joined today's session. Soon I'll be posting the recording of this session on our WhatsApp group. So thank you everyone for joining the session, and thanks Mrunmayee once again, and
No
good luck
problem.
for all your future endeavors. Thank you
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye.
Bye.